So one of the things that we talk about often is blood sugar and insulin spiking. But I think there's a little bit of a misconception here on what insulin resistance is versus insulin sensitivity, and insulin spiking versus blood sugar spiking. Now, I'm seeing a lot of different things, and some people have it figured out, and some people are a little off on what they think actually happens. So when you eat, your body has to start digesting, processing food, sending it to where it goes, storing what it needs to store. Blood sugar is going to go up. When your blood sugar goes up, your body has to start producing insulin to actually start bringing the blood sugar back down, transporting it to the places where it has to go. I keep hearing people talk about insulin spiking and then blood sugar spiking. That doesn't happen that way. Blood sugar's got to come up first in order for insulin to be triggered so it can actually start to bring the blood sugar back down. If you've ever heard of Thomas DeLauer talking about using whey protein to spike insulin while a diabetic has their meal or just after they have their meal, it's because he's trying to reduce the effect of blood sugar sitting there without having to take excessive insulin shots. He's talking about using a pure hydrolyzed whey as a insulin spiking agent. Extremely lean hydrolyzed whey will spike insulin. And if you just had a meal and you take your protein shake with it and you get your insulin spiked a little bit more than what it would normally be spiked, it helps bring your blood sugar levels down. And he says you can kind of use whey protein in that sense if you're smart with it to help control your blood sugar in a diabetic state. If you're in tune with yourself and you've been practicing it long enough. Now, something we often don't talk about, which I'm going to talk about in another video, is we talk about glucose index, but we don't ever talk about glycogen load or glucose load, or we talk about how it affects our blood sugar, but we don't talk about how long it sustains the effect on our blood sugar. Certain things can stay in our system for longer that ends up loading up your system to help to keep your blood sugar higher for a longer period of time. Just remember that blood sugar is going to come up first before insulin is. It's insulin's job to actually bring it back down and transport it where it has to go. Now, are you always going to be able to use available glucose? If that were the case, we wouldn't be in the situation that some of us are in, because we're metabolically destroyed. We have so much built up nutrients in our body that we can't use because we're trying to heal ourselves. Dr. Jason Fung gave an analogy on this, but then I took it and I turned it into my own analogy. You guys know I'm the keto mechanic. That's what I do. I relate things to more common sense style stuff that's not so much put across in medical terminology. If I was to take a one-car garage and park a car inside that garage, that car is the nutrients that's already in your cells. That car is the nutrients that has to be processed by your body and utilized correctly and sent off where it has to go. Well, if I took a big old giant F-350 truck and I tried to park it in that garage with that car, that is the nutrients that you're intaking because you didn't give yourself enough downtime, fasting time, to utilize the nutrients that's in your cell, because you have a slow metabolic system. You're slowly trying to heal yourself, and you will do that if you stay on a regimented program and you continue to do things high fat, low carb, or carnivore. Remember, the one car that's in the garage is the nutrients that's in the cell that's waiting to be moved out of the cell so more can come in. Well, if I have nutrients in the cell, that one car that's in the garage, and I take a big old F-250 and I try to park it in the garage too, I end up taking and slamming that F-250 into the back of that car over and over and over again, trying to get it to fit. And what ends up happening, you're going to destroy that car, you're going to push that car out the other side of the garage, you're going to break lots of stuff by doing that because you're trying to fit nutrients. You driving the car as like insulin. So with you driving that truck into the back of that car, and that's insulin pushing the nutrients into the cell, but it's already full, it's going to keep jamming it and jamming it and jamming it and trying to take it and put it in that cell because you're eating more than what your body can actually handle. Your body hasn't healed itself enough to get rid of those nutrients that's in the cell, and eventually what ends up happening is you end up crushing that car, pushing it through the other side of the wall, and basically blowing out the cell. Blood sugar goes way up now. You have all kinds of problems. You've got more medical conditions that you're having to worry about because you're insulin resistant. You want to be insulin sensitive. I hope by me having this conversation today has sparked something in your mind to help you understand glucose rise and insulin rise more, and blood sugar rise, and how to get rid of it, and the different ways that you can take an approach on your dietary path so you can actually start to achieve the better health. Remember, this is your life. You got to live it. Nobody else can. Keto on, carnivore on, and keep doing you guys. Peace.